Welcome to the Shadow of History channel. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out more videos like this one. Jemez Pueblo, early 20th century. A mother cradles her child in the warm light of the American Southwest. This intimate portrait captures the enduring strength and cultural heritage of the Jemez people in New Mexico. Soviet Union, 1977. A beaming new father gives a thumbs up to his newborn through a hospital window in an era of strict maternity ward rules. This glass pane was the only way to celebrate. Chiapas, 1991. Birds appear stunned and disoriented as a total solar eclipse turns midday into night. The sudden darkness triggered a confused silence across the tropical landscape recorded during this rare celestial event. London, 1940. A woman calmly sips a cup of tea amidst the ruins of the Blitz. This iconic image of British resilience shows that even during the heaviest bombings, life and tradition carried on. Portugal, 1950s. A young girl shares a quiet moment with her pet in a sun-drenched rural courtyard. This simple scene captures the universal innocence of childhood and the deep bond between humans and animals. Alaska, 1925. A deadly diphtheria outbreak threatens the isolated village of Nome. With no roads open, a relay of sled dog teams race through a blizzard to deliver the life-saving serum in record time. Chicago, 1945. Two young siblings share a tender embrace on a city sidewalk. This poignant photograph, titled Sibling Love, captures a moment of pure, unshielded affection in the heart of the post-war urban rush. London, 1880. A mother and daughter stand on the banks of the Thames, watching a tall ship navigate the fog. The massive wooden masts represent the height of British maritime power in the Victorian era. Hyderabad, 1948. Mir Osman Ali Khan, the world's richest man, poses at the end of his reign with a $2 billion fortune. He famously used a massive 185-carat diamond as a simple desk paperweight. Los Angeles, 1948. A gas station attendant passes a slow shift by knitting beside the pumps. This candid moment at Gilmore Self-Service captures a quiet slice of daily life in Southern California's car culture. France, 1969. Fashion icon Françoise Hardy poses elegantly between two cheetahs at Château de Thoiry. This striking promotional shot blends high-fashion sophistication with the raw, untamed power of the world's fastest land predators. Japan, 1910. Hand-colored photographs by Herbert Geddes reveal the Yao vibrant beauty of the late Meiji era. These delicate images preserve the traditional clothing and historic landscapes of a nation rapidly embracing the modern world. 1939. Mo Howard plugs his ears as Larry and Curly slurp their soup with comedic intensity. This classic publicity shot captures the chaotic energy and physical humor that made the Three Stooges legends. San Francisco, 1937. Thousands of pedestrians swarm across the Golden Gate Bridge on its historic opening day before cars took over. The public celebrated this engineering marvel by walking its entire span above the bay. San Francisco, 1952. Adlai Stevenson prepares for a campaign speech during his run for the presidency. This backstage look captures the intensity and hope of the Democratic candidate during a pivotal American election year. Japan, 1944. Students labor over giant fire balloons designed to carry bombs across the Pacific. These experimental weapons were the first intercontinental missiles launched by Japan to reach the distant shores of North America. England, 1960, comedian Eric Sykes tests a bizarre mass shaving machine from the 19th century. This unusual contraption designed to shave 12 men at once was featured on a pilot for a television series. Paris, 1910. The Grand Palais overflows with the latest automotive marvels at the Paris Motor Show. This prestigious event showcased the rapid technological advances that were quickly replacing horse-drawn carriages with sleek, powerful machines. Hiroshima, 1945. A mother and child sit amidst the ash and skeletal remains of their city. 4 months after the atomic blast, Alfred Eisenstadt's lens captures the quiet, heartbreaking resilience of the survivors. USA 1980s. Local bands strike dramatic poses for their promotional publicity photos, from big hair to leather jackets. These images perfectly encapsulate the flamboyant style and rebellious spirit of the decade's music scene. London, 1945. Thousands of jubilant citizens fill the streets to celebrate victory in Europe day after 6 long years of conflict. The city erupted in cheers as the war finally came to an end. Japan, 1963, actor Haruo Nakajima takes a tea break while partially dressed in his heavy Godzilla suit. This rare behind-the-scenes moment shows the human effort behind the legendary monster's battle with Mothra. USA 1944, Dick Purcell dons the iconic shield as Captain America in the first theatrical Marvel film. This expensive movie serial brought the patriotic superhero to life on the big screen during wartime. Florida, 1928-2, reinforced cars collide during a violent and dusty match of auto polo. This dangerous sport combined the rules of polo with the wreckage of a demolition derby for daring spectators. USA 1965, designer Wild Bill Gelbke cruises on his massive Road Dogg motorcycle at 17 feet long and weighing over 3,000 pounds. This custom behemoth remains one of the largest motorcycles ever built. New York City, 1974, John Lennon poses on a city rooftop, flashing the peace sign against the skyline. This iconic portrait captures the legendary musician's enduring spirit of activism during his life in America. USA 1970s, a dapper model showcases the latest styles in a cricketer menswear advertisement with bold patterns and wide lapels. The ad captures the quintessential professional look of the disco-era American male. New York City, 1921, forbidden spirits cascade into the city sewers during a massive police raid. These public displays of destruction were common as authorities struggled to enforce the strict laws of the Prohibition era. San Francisco, 1947. Cable cars and vintage sedans navigate the steep, bustling streets of Union Square. Fred Lyon's photography captures the timeless charm and foggy atmosphere of the city by the bay. Waco, 1913. A 15-year-old messenger boy stands on a street corner under the red lights. Lewis Hines. Investigative photography exposed the dangers faced by young workers in America's early industrial urban landscape. New York City, 1930. Waiters in formal attire serve lunch to iron workers on a beam high above Manhattan. This staged publicity shot celebrated the daring construction of the luxurious Waldorf Astoria Hotel. London, 1985. The members of Queen share a playful moment during the photo shoot for One Vision. Despite their global superstardom, the band remained famous for their camaraderie and infectious sense of fun. Hollywood, 1966. A young woman experiences the terrifying effects of a bad psychedelic trip. This candid photograph and her subsequent haunting testimony captured the dark side of the era's experimental drug culture. Los Angeles, 1932. Christmas. Shoppers and classic cars clog Hollywood Boulevard during the height of the holiday rush. The festive decorations and crowded sidewalks show the resilience of the city during the Depression. Long Island, 1939. Albert Einstein enjoys a relaxed summer day with his close friend David Rothman. Away from his theories, the world's most famous physicist found peace sailing and talking on the shore. Indianapolis, 1979. A tragic accident unfolds as a crashing dragster's engine parts strike cameraman Joe Rooks. This horrifying moment at the U.S. Nationals serves as a grim reminder of the risks in motorsport. Yosemite, 1901. A room in the old Hutchings house is built directly around a massive 8-foot cedar tree. This unique architectural choice brought the majesty of California's giant forests into the living room. London, 1966, sculptor Claes Oldenburg carries a giant soft toothpaste tube through the busy city streets. This pop art performance turned everyday objects into massive spectacles, confusing and delighting passersby in equal measure. Germany, 1940s. General Hermann Balck, a legendary tank commander, surveys the battlefield wounded 7 times across 2 world wars. His tactical brilliance made him one of the most respected military leaders in modern history. France, 1944. Polish soldiers hold their ground on Hill 262 during the brutal Battle of the Falaise Gap. Their desperate last stand prevented a German breakout, sealing the fate of the occupied forces. Modena, 1959 children ride a precarious pulley system to cross a wide river on their way to school. This ingenious but dangerous commute was a daily necessity for students living in the rural outskirts. Ellis Island, 1900s. A young Italian immigrant gazes at her new home with a mix of fear and hope. She was one of millions passing through this gateway to seek the American dream. Atlantic Ocean, 1934. Brave crewmen climb onto the exterior of the Graf Zeppelin to repair the hull mid-flight. Suspended thousands of feet above the waves, they performed essential maintenance while the engines roared. USA, 1893. Mark Twain watches in awe as Nikola Tesla conducts a high-voltage experiment in his laboratory. This rare meeting of 2 geniuses captures the intersection of literature and the dawn of electricity. Milwaukee, 1917 students at the Harley-Davidson School learned the intricate mechanics of motorcycle repair. These trained technicians were essential for maintaining the growing fleet of bikes used by both civilians and the military. Detroit, 1940s. The bustling streets of the Motor City reflect its status as the richest city on Earth at its peak. Detroit was the global heart of industry before production began shifting overseas. Texas, 1920s. Ralph Madsen, the tallest Texan cowboy, stands over 7 feet tall. His incredible stature made him a legendary figure in Western shows where he towered over his fellow riders and horses. Europe, 19th century. Traditional box beds provided warmth and privacy in small, drafty cottages. These enclosed wooden sleeping quarters were a staple of rural life before modern heating and changing tastes made them obsolete. New York City, 1955-4. Women laugh as they attempt to carry a massive 9-foot baguette through Soho. This whimsical scene highlights the eclectic and vibrant street life of Manhattan's artistic neighborhoods. Colorado, 1890. A stagecoach balances precariously while crossing a narrow bridge in Silverton. This hair-raising journey through the San Juan Mountains was a daily reality for travelers in the rugged American West. South Dakota, 1962. A restorer carefully scales the granite nose of Abraham Lincoln on Mount Rushmore. This terrifying climb was part of the ongoing effort to preserve the massive presidential faces for future generations. San Antonio, 1939. A farmer's daughter shares a quiet moment with her cat in the family kitchen. This intimate portrait captures the simple, hard-working life of rural Texas during the late Great Depression. California, 1945. A Japanese-American family returns from an internment camp to find their home defaced with racial slurs. This sobering image documents the prejudice and hardship faced by citizens returning from wartime confinement. USA, 1936. Lizzie Magie displays the prototype for her invention, the landlord's game. Originally designed to warn against the dangers of land speculation, her creation eventually evolved into the world-famous game monopoly. SA, 1950s. Clowns from the Ringling Bros Circus pose in elaborate, unsettling costumes that defined a different era of entertainment. Their exaggerated features and haunting makeup reflect a vintage style of comedy that today feels more eerie than joyful. Ohio, 1973. Convicted murderer Lester Eubanks is granted a solo Christmas shopping trip as part of a prison furlough. He simply walked away from them all and has successfully evaded capture for over 50 years. Berlin, 1945. A woman navigates a landscape of twisted metal and shattered brick during the final days of World War II. Amidst the smoke of the Battle of Berlin, the city's once grand streets lie in total ruin. UK, 1923. A satirical cartoon accurately predicts a future where everyone is distracted by pocket telephones. Over a century ago, artists imagined the social isolation that personal communication devices might one day bring to public life. New Zealand, 1920s. A modified Chevrolet automobile navigates a precarious bush railway bridge high above a gorge. Accompanied by his loyal dog, the inspector monitors the remote timber lines of the rugged North Island wilderness. England, 1962. Camberly Kate pushes a cart filled with her rescued stray dogs through the streets throughout her life. She provided a sanctuary for over 600 animals, becoming a legendary figure of local compassion. Los Angeles, 1924. The original Hollywoodland sign stands high on Mount Lee as a temporary advertisement for a housing development. No one knew then that this real estate billboard would become a global cultural icon. USA, 1910s. A worker balances on a tall ladder to manually adjust and maintain a city street lamp before automated systems. The nightly illumination of urban centers relied on the steady hands of these dedicated crews. Yosemite, 1879. A horse-drawn carriage passes through the famous Wawona tree, a tunnel carved directly into a living giant sequoia. This early tourist attraction showcased the staggering scale of California's ancient and majestic redwoods. USA, 1946. The Spacelander bicycle emerges as a masterpiece of futuristic design with its sleek, flowing fiberglass frame. Though designed shortly after the war, fewer than 500 were produced when it finally hit markets. Minnesota, 1881. Massive walls of snow tower over a steam locomotive following a brutal winter. The historic drifts were so deep that workers had to dig massive canyons just to clear the essential railway tracks. Egypt, 1200 BCE. An ancient limestone tablet records the daily absences of workers building royal tombs. Reasons for and missing work included brewing beer embalming relatives or even nursing a painful and dangerous scorpion sting. New York City, 1888. a young man stands in a deep path carved through massive snowdrifts on Madison Avenue. This legendary Great White Hurricane paralyzed the East Coast, burying the city under several feet of snow. Vietnam, 1968. A trooper from the 1st Cavalry Division marks his short timer helmet to count the days until his return home. Amidst the dense jungle, the tally served as a vital psychological lifeline. Hawaii, 1941. An aerial photograph taken from a Japanese plane captures the devastating moment of the attack on Pearl Harbor. Plumes of black smoke rise from the battleships, marking the official entry of the United States into World War II. Montana, 1925. Helen, an American Indian woman, works as a skilled telephone and switchboard operator. This portrait highlights the integration of indigenous people into the modern technological infrastructure of the early 20th century. Tucson, 1972. Hollywood icons Paul Newman and Clint Eastwood share a rare relaxed moment during a break-in filming captured by Terry O'Neill. This photo brings together two of cinema's most legendary leading men. New York, 1936. European Jewish immigrants on Ellis Island hold a defiant protest against their scheduled deportation to Nazi Germany, facing an uncertain and dangerous future. They fought for the right to find safety. Amsterdam, 1960. Otto Frank stands alone in the quiet attic where his family hid for 2 years. As the only survivor, his return to the secret annex is a poignant reminder of loss and endurance. Ethiopia, 1991. A young boy stands before a massive fallen bronze statue of Vladimir Lenin. The toppled monument serves as a powerful symbol of the collapse of the Derg regime and a changing political era. Germany, 1945. A boy walks down a rural road lined with the remains of victims from a nearby concentration camp. This harrowing image documents the grim reality discovered as Allied forces liberated the Nazi heartland. New York City, 1900s immigrant families crowd the sidewalks of Little Italy, creating a vibrant, bustling community from hanging laundry to street vendors. This neighborhood was the gateway to a new life for thousands. Germany, 1959. 24-year-old Elvis Presley meets 14-year-old Priscilla Beaulieu while serving in the Army. This chance encounter at a party would eventually lead to one of the most famous marriages in American history. Texas, 1971. David Vetter is born with a severe immune deficiency that forces him to live inside a sterile plastic bubble known as the Bubble Boy. His life was a medical marvel and a tragedy. California, 1969. Charles Manson's initial booking photo reveals the haunting gaze of the cult leader following his arrest. His trial for the Tate-LaBianca murders would soon transfix and terrify a shocked American public. USA, 1985. Pop star Cher and a young Tom Cruise begin a quiet romance after meeting at a celebrity wedding despite their age difference. The high-profile couple dated for a year during the mid-'80s. Germany, 1894. Queen Victoria poses with her grandson, Kaiser Wilhelm II, and Tsar Nicholas II. In a rare family gathering, this portrait of interconnected European royalty was taken just decades before they would face war. Michigan, 1893. Two powerful draft horses pull a massive sled loaded with over 36,000 board feet of lumber. This World's Fair load demonstrated the incredible strength and torque of working animals in industry. France, 1927. The Bugatti Type 41 Royale stands as the pinnacle of automotive excess and luxury with its massive engine and elegant coachwork. It was designed specifically for royalty and the world's wealthiest elite. California, 1914. A massive log raft, 700 feet long, completes a grueling 1,200-mile ocean tow from Oregon. Chained securely, these floating islands of timber fueled the rapid expansion of the San Diego region. Egypt, 1550 BCE. The Rhind mathematical papyrus reveals the advanced geometric and algebraic knowledge of ancient scribes. This, a remarkable scroll, served as a textbook proving that the foundations of modern math are thousands of years old. San Francisco, 1937. Stunt planes soar between the towers of the Golden Gate Bridge during its grand opening, while thousands of pedestrians walk the span. The aerial display celebrated the completion of the world's longest bridge. France, 1917. A British soldier smiles as he holds a steel helmet dented by a massive shrapnel. Hit this lucky close call on the Western Front illustrates the life-saving importance of modern military gear. USA, 1896. Nikola Tesla produces a high-voltage X-ray of his own foot using his specialized vacuum tubes. These early experiments paved the way for modern medical imaging showcasing Tesla's brilliance beyond wireless power. Oregon, 1915-2. Lumberjacks stand in the massive notch of a giant tree in the Pacific Northwest, using only handsaws and axes. These men tackled some of the largest timber on the planet. New York City, 1944. A sea of people fills Times Square to celebrate the arrival of the new year. Amidst the global conflict, the gathering provided a brief moment of hope for the future. Washington, 1920s. White House staff used shovels and brooms to clear a heavy blanket of snow from the driveway. Maintaining the grounds of the executive mansion was a full-time job during the harsh winters. New York, 1911. Men dressed in Revolutionary War uniforms march with drums and fifes during a 4th of July parade. This patriotic display celebrated American independence while honoring the traditions of the nation's founders. Let's say 1958. Senator John F. Kennedy shares a playful moment with his young daughter Caroline. This candid family photo captures the future president's private life long before his historic move into the White House. Minneapolis, 1924. Police arrest Jenny McGregor for smuggling illegal alcohol inside specialized life preserver flasks. These prohibition tricks were common as citizens found creative ways to hide and transport forbidden spirits during the dry era. Colorado, 1892. The mountain town of Ouray sits nestled deep within a rugged canyon. This historic photograph captures the mining boom era where gold and silver strikes drew thousands to the spectacular San Juan Mountains. South Dakota, 1930s. A worker appears to cling to the giant eye of Thomas Jefferson on Mount Rushmore, while the photo looks terrifying. A sturdy wooden platform sits just out of frame during the carving. USA, 1933. Lines of unemployed men stretch around city blocks during the darkest year of the Great Depression. With nearly 25% of the workforce idle, the nation faced its greatest economic challenge. New York City, 1929. Michael Borish eats a sandwich while perched 800 feet above the street on the Chrysler Building. With decades of experience, he felt perfectly at home on the narrow steel beams. Montana, 1916. Ethnomusicologist Frances Densmore records the traditional songs of Blackfoot Chief Mountain Chief using a primitive wax cylinder phonograph. She helped preserve the vanishing musical heritage of indigenous nations for future generations. USA 1975, Mo Howard of the Three Stooges is photographed just months before his death as the leader of the legendary comedy trio. His career spanned decades of slapstick that influenced generations of performers. Australia 1970s, a vintage grocery store advertisement shows the remarkably low prices of the era, from canned goods to fresh produce. These prices reflect a time of significantly lower costs of living for families. Italy 1937, a young John F. Kennedy visits the famous Leaning Tower of Pisa during a summer trip to Europe. These early travels helped shape the future president's understanding of global history and international relations. UK 1920s, young men at Oxford University popularize Oxford bags, trousers with incredibly wide legs. This bold fashion trend became a symbol of youthful rebellion and jazz-age style across British campuses and beyond. Wisconsin 1941. Agricultural workers labor in the fields of Shawano County. During the bean harvest, these essential laborers fueled the nation on the eve of its entry into the Second World War. Pacific Ocean 1963. The massive aircraft carrier USS Coral Sea cuts through the waves during a routine deployment. This floating fortress represented the cutting edge of American naval power during the height of the Cold War. USA 1912. Men, women, and children gather on Johnny Remo's farm to harvest a massive field of potatoes. This family effort was the backbone of American agriculture before the rise of industrial machinery. New York City, 1956, young Willie plays with a silent friend in the gritty streets of Hell's Kitchen. Ken Hayman's lens captures a moment of childhood joy amidst the urban decay of old Manhattan. Queens 1910. Seaside bungalows in Rockaway feature front yards made of sand and decorated with seashells. These charming retreats offered New Yorkers a breezy coastal escape from the sweltering heat of the city. Arizona 1851. Olive Oatman lived for years with the Mojave people after her family was attacked. She returned to white settlers bearing a permanent blue chin tattoo, a traditional mark of her tribal life. Norway 1870. A Sami couple poses in their traditional garments, reflecting a culture perfectly adapted to the Arctic. This early portrait preserves the heritage of the indigenous people of the far northern tundra. Central Asia. 8th century, the Orkan inscriptions provide a rare look into the ancient Turkic empires. These massive stone monuments tell stories of epic wars and cultural shifts that shaped the Silk Road's history. New York City, 1957. A llama peers out of a taxi window on West 44th Street. This surreal image by Inge Morath highlights the unexpected and whimsical encounters found in the heart of Manhattan. New York City, 1938. A technician meticulously services electromechanical switches in a massive telephone exchange. These complex machines were the physical brain of the city's communication, connecting thousands of calls by hand every day. Chicago, 1938. The 20th century limited steam engine roars out of the station, heading for New York, known as the most famous train in the world, represented the peak of luxury travel. Michigan, 1009. A tall, slender man stands with his small dog in 3 oaks, mirroring the classic image of the Grinch. This whimsical holiday scene captures the quirky charm of small-town American life. Niagara Falls, 1928. An aerial tram carries passengers high above the churning waters of the whirlpool. This thrilling ride provided a dizzying perspective on one of the most powerful natural wonders in North America. Ithaca, 1951. Cornell University students practice domestic skills in a specialized home economics class. This curriculum was designed to prepare women for modern homemaking using the latest scientific and nutritional standards of the era. USA, 1928. A papier-mâché Felix. The cat becomes one of the first images ever. Broadcast on American television used for testing, this small figurine sat before cameras for hours during the medium's infancy. USA, 1951. Humphrey Bogart sits patiently as rubber leeches are applied to his chest for the African Queen. This movie magic helped create one of the most memorable and visceral scenes in cinema. Essay, 1978. A young Michael Jackson captures the world's attention with his undeniable talent and charisma. This portrait shows the future king of pop on the verge of his massive global solo success. British Columbia, 1954. A family pauses their road trip at Cache Creek to take in the rugged scenery. This candid vacation photo reflects the post-war boom of car travel and the great outdoors. New York City, 1880s. Thousands of overhead telephone and telegraph cables darken the sky above Broadway. This chaotic web of wires eventually forced the city to move its entire communication infrastructure safely underground. USA, 1923. A couple shares a ride on an autoped, an early motorized scooter. This nimble and fashionable vehicle was a precursor to modern personal transport, offering a fast way to navigate city streets. Strasbourg, 1944. A French woman greets an American soldier with a warm embrace just days after liberation. Their shared joy marks the end of years of occupation and the beginning of newfound freedom. Chicago, 1929. The city's bustling skyline and crowded streets reflect its status as a thriving industrial hub. This era was defined by architectural innovation, Prohibition, era grit, and the rapid pace of modern life. San Francisco, 1908. A team of horses pulls a massive Victorian house through the streets to a new location. This incredible feat of engineering saved historic architecture from demolition during the city's reconstruction. West Virginia, 1946. A sturdy wooden pillar supports the porch of a miner's home in a coal company town. These modest houses were part of a vast industrial landscape built to fuel America. India, late 1800s, an ascetic wears a heavy metal grid welded around his neck to prevent himself from ever lying down. This extreme act of devotion showcases the intense spiritual practices of the era. USA, 1984, 9-year-old Drew Barrymore lights a cigarette for author Stephen King. This controversial behind-the-scenes moment captured the two stars during the AES filming of the horror classic Firestarter, based on King's novel. Oregon, 1900, a three-wheel steam tractor hauls massive logs toward a sawmill. This powerful machine revolutionized the timber industry, allowing lumberjacks to transport enormous loads through the rugged Pacific Northwest wilderness with ease. USA, 1950s, Robert Earl Hughes, one of the heaviest men in history, walks unaided across a field weighing over 1,000 pounds. His mobility was a medical marvel that fascinated the public during his life. Say, 1897. A mother uses a simple piece of string to help her son pull a loose tooth. This timeless domestic ritual captures a relatable moment of childhood in the late 19th century. Europe, 1890s, medical photographs document the devastating physical effects of syphilis before the invention of penicillin. These grim images highlight the critical importance of modern antibiotics in treating once incurable and life-threatening diseases. USA 1960's An Experimental Safety Belt design features a complex harness intended to protect passengers during a crash. While this specific concept never took off, it paved the way for modern life-saving seatbelts. UK 1920. A man uses large garden shears to trim the hair of a crying child. This improvised home haircut reflects a time of practical, if somewhat terrifying, solutions to everyday grooming needs. USA 1897. A 15-year-old Theodore Roosevelt poses with impressive mutton chop sideburns. This early portrait shows the future president's bold personality and rugged style long before his days as a legendary Rough Rider. San Francisco, 1960, Debbie Reynolds and a young Carrie Fisher wait patiently for a city cable car. This charming, candid shot captures a quiet moment between mother and daughter in the iconic hills. Chicago, 1895. Massive crowds fill State Street, the bustling heart of the city's retail district. This early view showcases the energy of urban America at the dawn of the 20th century commercial boom. Germany, 1920s, a man in a polar bear costume poses for a traditional photograph with local families. These quirky, slightly surreal images became a popular street-side custom across Germany for many decades. UK 1960s, George Harrison takes a quiet break to enjoy a cup of tea. This candid moment captures the legendary Beatle in a rare, peaceful reflection amidst the height of global musical stardom. Washington, 1994. Pearl Jam members Stone Gossard and Jeff Ament testify before Congress. They challenge the monopoly of Ticketmaster, sparking a national debate over concert ticket fees and the power of corporations. Indiana, 1936. Dorothea Lange captures workers harvesting oats in a golden field south of Indianapolis. This Farm Security Administration photograph documents the resilience of rural Americans during the hardships of the Great Depression. Say 1946. Young Geraldine Fain carefully sets the table for a family Sunday dinner as the daughter of a coal loader. Her domestic work reflects the daily life and pride of mining families. Say 1980. A man is blown back by the sheer power of sound in a classic Maxell cassette advertisement. This iconic image became a symbol of the high-fidelity audio revolution that defined the decade. New Jersey, 1900s. Young pinboys reset bowling lanes by hand at the arcade alley before automated machines. These boys worked long hours in the pits for small wages in a common youth job. Alabama, 1932. A doctor draws blood from a patient during the infamous Tuskegee syphilis study. This government experiment lasted 40 years, eventually becoming a symbol of unethical medical practices and grave racial injustice. USA 1950s. A man drinks from a water fountain marked for African Americans. This stark image of segregation serves as a powerful reminder of the systemic racism that defined the Jim Crow era. New York City, 1911. Protesters fill the streets to grieve the victims of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire. This tragedy sparked a massive movement for labor rights and improved safety standards in American factories. USA, 1942. Families of Japanese ancestry wait for relocation under armed guard, following Executive Order 9066. Forced to leave their homes with only what they could carry. They were sent to internment camps. Augusta, 1909. A young girl works long hours among the spinning machines of the Globe cotton mill. Lewis Hines' photography helped expose the harsh reality of child labor, leading to essential national reforms. London, 1943. Inside an East End nursery, children huddle safely within a sturdy linen cupboard during a terrifying air raid. This makeshift shelter provided a small sense of security amidst the relentless German bombings. California, 1892. A logging family poses proudly before a massive redwood tree, estimated to be 1,300 years old. Their saws would soon fell this ancient giant to meet the demands of a growing nation. New Zealand, 1893. Women celebrate a monumental victory as they are officially granted the right to vote. This historic milestone made the nation the first self-governing country to achieve true universal suffrage for women. Cologne, 1946. Acrobat Margaret Zimmerman performs a daring tightrope walk high above the jagged ruins of the city. Her grace amidst the destruction served as a powerful symbol of hope for a recovering Germany. USA, 1960. John F. Kennedy sits for a quiet moment while curious voters peer through the window to catch a glimpse. This candid shot captures the magnetic charisma that fueled his historic presidential campaign. Bastogne, 1944. Exhausted American GIS Adam Davis and Milford Sillars take a brief, weary break in the freezing Belgian snow. They survived the brutal siege of Bastogne during the pivotal Battle of the Bulge. Europe, 1944. An Asian soldier serves within the Wehrmacht's Eastern Legions during the height of the war. His presence reflects the complex and often overlooked diversity of forces recruited into the German military machine. Africa, 1907. A British blacksmith uses his tools to strike the heavy leg irons off a captive man. This visceral image documents the slow physical process of dismantling the remnants of the slave trade. London, 1945. A young girl stands stoically before a building shattered by a German V-2 rocket captured by Tony Frizzle. This haunting image reflects the resilience of children living through the final air attacks. Europe, 1944. A captured German paratrooper turns his head to hide his face from the camera's lens. His gesture captures the shame and defeat felt by elite Nazi forces as the Allied advance continued. Germany, 1944, a Luftwaffe fighter maneuvers into position to strike a massive American B-17 bomber over an aircraft factory. This aerial combat photo captures the high-stakes violence of the Allied daylight bombing campaign. Hiroshima, 1945. A lone Japanese soldier walks through a vast leveled wasteland following the atomic bombing. The utter absence of standing structures illustrates the terrifying and unprecedented power of the world's first nuclear weapon. Jersey, 1941. A Luftwaffe officer stands on a quiet street chatting with a local British policeman. This surreal interaction occurred during the occupation of the Channel Islands, the only British territory seized by Germany. Florida, 1943 crewmen use high-pressure hoses to wash down a Martin PBM Mariner flying boat after a mission. This routine maintenance was essential to protect the massive aircraft from the corrosive effects of salt water. USA, 1904. Edward Curtis captures a rare, genuine smile from a Navajo man in the American Southwest. This portrait challenges the era's stoic stereotypes, documenting the human warmth and personality of the indigenous people. New York City, 1925. A police officer halts a line of heavy traffic to let a mother cat carry her kitten safely across this charming moment of urban kindness, briefly stop the city's relentless rush. Prague, 1968. A Soviet tank crashes through the facade of a building during the invasion of Czechoslovakia. This violent image captures the sudden end of the Prague Spring as Warsaw Pact forces crushed reform. Korea, 1950. A Turkish soldier shares a peaceful moment with a local Korean monk amidst the chaos of war. This unlikely meeting highlights the global nature of the United Nations defense of South Korea. Italy, 1944. A U.S. Army medic carries a heavy load of blood plasma and blankets through the rugged Casino Mountains. His tireless efforts saved countless lives during the brutal struggle for the Liri Valley. Newfoundland, 1916. A local community gathers to welcome Private William Tibbs home from the Great War, having been deemed unfit for further service due to wounds. He returns to a town filled with pride. Paris, 1871. A massive cobblestone barricade stands on Rue Voltaire following the violent suppression of the Paris Commune. This image documents the bloody week where regular army forces reclaimed the city from revolutionaries. Georgia, 1930. A family of sharecroppers poses outside their humble one-room cabin. During the Great Depression, their meager surroundings reflect the deep poverty and systemic hardship faced by rural farmers in the South. South Carolina, 1953. A farmer sprays a blooming peach orchard with lime sulfur to protect the crop from rot. This routine agricultural task was vital for ensuring a successful harvest in the Palmetto State. New Guinea, 1955. A group of Papuans carries a portrait of Queen Juliana to show their loyalty to the Netherlands. They gathered to celebrate a UN decision rejecting Indonesia's territorial claims to their land. New York City, 1915. Men employed by the American Eugenics Society marched down Wall Street carrying controversial signs. This chilling photograph documents the era's widespread and pseudo-scientific obsession with controlling human genetics and heredity.